how did she qualify? You said you've looked at some of those qualifiers where her opponents seem to be better. Is it so subjective that, you know, these sort of results can happen? Or would most people who are into their breakdancing watching that competition or agree with you that her competitor should have made the team?
I think anyone who is apparently not a judge of that competition would come away with the same conclusion as me, that Raygun was not better than Holy Molly, who she was competing against. Objectively speaking, Holy Molly is quicker, she is younger, and she's more acrobatic than Raygun is. And, and if I can put this in a very like layman's way, someone who is just getting into breakdancing can only do certain moves, the easier moves. Raygun looks like she's basically an amateur. Whereas
Mm.
Holy Molly looks like she is someone, young, but clearly more naturally talented than Raygun is. So it doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. I don't know if there's some sort of collusion or any corruption behind the scenes or anything like that. But I'm still dumbfounded by what I just watched.
Well, I'm not suggesting there's been anything corrupt, just perhaps some bizarre decisions made along the way. Now, we've learned that Raygun is coached by her husband, who is also a breaker. I think we've got some footage of his moves. I think he's had a bit to do with some of the choreography we saw in Paris. What do you think of his dance moves? Could this be the problem? Does she need a better coach, perhaps?
Not necessarily that. There are moves that she is capable of doing, but there are certain things that you just clearly can and cannot do. Not every person who wants to be a gymnast can be a gymnast. There's a certain amount of strength you have to have. There's a certain amount of skill that you have to have that is natural, or you have to put an abundance amount of time to overcome where you lack. I just don't think by her age to do the type of things that she's doing, she's basically at a geriatric stage of any breakdancer. And most of them last basically into their mid-30s, competing wise. And maybe the top ones, especially the males, they can go a little bit longer. But for her to go as far as she did with her skill level or lack of skill is truly amazing to see.
Well, we are getting a lot of pressure here from the media, from members of the sporting fraternity saying that you cannot be critical of her or her performance because she gave it a red hot go. But you wrote in your piece that people are mocking her because of her audacity to believe that she deserves to be considered one of the best female dancers in the world. And her performance was astoundingly bad. Again, I'm quoting you there. Do we have participation trophies at Olympic level? Is this what we're basically talking about? We're saying, well, she's older than the other dancers. She's perhaps not as experienced in actual dancing. She might be experienced in writing academic papers about dancing. Is this a participation trophy at Olympic level?
Yeah, and part of me thinks this is a little bit of licking the wounds for Australia, because it is embarrassing to see. So I think the reaction is to say, well, at least she gave it a go. Listen, Australia is not known for its breakdancing. You hear those type of excuses, but the reality is we wouldn't do this for any other sport, especially an Olympic sport. We wouldn't make these type of excuses. The reality is that she's not nearly as good as her competition. And listen, when it comes to the Olympics or any sporting event, someone's going to come in last place. So it's not about her coming into last place, but it's what she did and how she represented herself and her capabilities while competing. And like I was saying before, her qualifying rounds, to make it into the Olympics was actually better than what she performed at the Olympics. So, and I don't even think it was nerves. I think she was trying to be overly creative because she knew she's not as skilled as the other dancers. but by trying to be so creative without the skill makes you look very goofy in breakdancing. It just completely falls apart. There's creativity is very important in breakdancing, but you have to follow it up with something else.
I think that's the word, Adam, goofy. I think goofy sums it up beautifully. Adam B Coleman, thank you so much for your time this evening.